Okay, we're good.
All right, I will call the meeting to order. It's agenda date, time, and location were properly announced. Thank you all for coming tonight. We will start off with the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 16th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve? Brian, is there a second? Chris? Any questions or discussion? Correction? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills. Is there a motion to approve the amount for August of $829,803.75?
Make a motion.
Greenie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Chuck, any questions or discussion?
Yes, just a question for about 82,302, the payment for the Ram van. Is it? You could just.
I made a payment towards the lease of the van, just to put it towards them.
Oh, okay. And then there was one for contracted cleaning services. What is that about? That's on the second page.
What was it?
Contracted cleaning services for $17,750.
So we contract with SaberCore, which actually, if you see the signs for MC, I forget, but they're the individuals that clean our school at night. They go through. So we actually have, the way it works in the district, we have Mike, Bob, and Russ, which are our maintenance guys.
Yep.
And then they supervise the contract cleaners, and our contract cleaners go in all our rooms, do all the cleaning and all those other things. We've been using SaberCore since I got here, and I think probably about 7 years or so since that switch has been made.
And is that a monthly? That's just,
Yes, that's
okay.
a monthly.
That's all I really
Yep.
wanted to.
No.
That's what that
No.
was. Okay.
No.
I didn't notice that.
Were,
That's all I had.
were all the payments on the vans, are they higher than normal? Like there's, the lease payment is like 600 and something?
we have extra money. I wanted to use our money up last year, so I had that much money left in the fund to spend, so I applied it to something that would lessen the burden this year.
Right, okay.
Any
That's a
other
good idea.
questions?
Not me.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the cash summary?
As you can see, this month we got some of our tax payments, so a big income month here. I didn't have any questions. I don't know, did anybody have any questions about this document at all?
Is it much higher or lower?
Our budget, we'll go over that a little bit later on. Our budget is about the same. We're a little higher this year, right? Budget wise, all things said and done. Like 10, yeah, pretty much within 1%. But see, all things about the same.
All right, no questions on the cash summary? All right, donations.
Okay, donations. First of all, if you're here for our ice cream social, please a big thank you to Tommy for donating the ice cream. It was fantastic, and he's such a great supporter of that. So thank you for the ice cream donation. With that too, we've had two staff members have their donors choose donations funded, and I got an update from Donors Choose, the organization, that so within this year, so this started January 1st, our staff have collected $7,800 worth of donations from that. So that's a big chunk when you think of it, and it's not easy. You have to go to the website, you have to put a little narrative of what you're looking for. You know, there's work towards this, and I appreciate all the staff. When I see that number, we see this every month, like a little bit here, a little bit there. That really adds up. So kudos to everyone there.
Isn't that parents seeing that and usually buying something for the classroom?
Yeah, so it can be anyone. You know, once in a while on the day of giving, I know Herb Cole will go and fund, so much. And it can be funded from all over the world. It can be locally. It's just as people see something that kind of hits a soft spot, they go and fund some of these things. It's all those little things like, a little book nook corner or some of those things that the regular budget doesn't have. So yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's very nice. People are very generous.
I agree.
I did not see any comments from the public tonight. Nothing on the sheet. All right. And building reports.
I will say that Susan's here by herself. She's going to take on all the points. Sandy is getting healthy right now, so we excused her from tonight to get a little bit more rest.
Okay.
So starting out with a strong classroom, Sandy and I work together on our board point. So just wanted to share kickoff for staff book clubs at the middle level. So each year we like to engage in some professional development and reading. And so last year we didn't do a book study, but this year we're bringing it back. So we've got 3 books that we're going to be focused on. One is learning about just motivating students who are undermotivated. Another one is restorative practices, which is a student mediation strategy for dealing with peer conflict. And then another one is student-led conferences. So our staff, middle school staff, has picked one of those books that they're going to read together, engage in discussion, and then come up with an action plan of how to implement what they're reading. And so that'll be first semester. Next semester, they're going to switch and pick a different book to learn about and share with each other. So we're looking forward to engaging in that work together this school year. Tonight was our kickoff for our high school parent-teacher conferences. The building leadership team from the high school had talked about they wanted to revamp how conferences were going, just due to attendance for not all of the teachers, but attendance for some of the teachers. So we have pretty good attendance with our core teachers, especially for our freshmen and sophomore core. But then it kind of dwindles as the kids get a little older. And we don't have as great attendance for our elective teachers. So planning together, the leadership team came up with a new format where they wanted to really focus the reason or the conferences on what students are learning and then showcase their learning. So tonight was our kickoff with that approach. We're still going to have individual conference slots available for those individual conferences. And also teachers then are going to be each month reaching out to parents of students that aren't progressing as well as they hope each month, so that way we can be a little more flexible with that. And so as the year goes on, the plan is to showcase more and more student work. So showing exemplars across all of the different content. So tonight was just our opening kickoff, and we hope to build it and see more attendance as we go along. Middle school parent presentation during the back to school social. We had a wonderful turnout for each of the grade level presentations. It was just really unfortunate that it was so ungodly hot and we were all packed in the library and I felt terrible. A good case for air conditioning. But it was a good turnout, so very positive there. And at the elementary, the staff will be engaging in learning about reading horizons work. So they have their first professional development as a whole staff coming up on Monday. So this is a reading, or Mike, you have to help me, a reading program?
It's a reading program. This first part will be K through 3 that really has uniform instruction around phonics, around sight words, and bringing everybody up. So it's a pretty comprehensive. I know Sandy was really excited about it. We did use some of our ESSER funds for this as a kind of a remediation type thing, and we really think it's going to give our students that consistent. I know our teachers are excited about it as they get older. We've been looking for a different way to teach spelling instead of just giving 10 spelling words and doing this. All those things are all going to kind of be coming in this. So our students slowly will be doing this. This is our youngers, and then from there we'll be going into older elementary and even into middle school. So it's kind of a 3-year process of really focusing in on reading. I think we're doing well in this, but this even makes us tighter.
So next, under strong culture. So Homecoming Spirit Week kicked off today. Actually over the weekend with the window painting, and today was our animation day. So Hollywood theme is the theme, and really looking forward to the whole week. A lot of activities planned by Nikki Donahue is the senior class advisor along with the seniors, and then all the class advisors working with their grade level. So really have a lot of fun, and then culmination on Friday with our pep rally, where we really go through and acknowledge all of our fall sports, introduce them, have them part of the pep rally, recognize them for the work that they're doing this athletic season. So looking forward to the week there, and then the homecoming dance on Saturday. High school class officer elections, they have been completed. They did those the first couple of weeks of school. And now for the middle school, wanted to share that we have a couple of new club offerings. So they're called Clever Cat and Math Masters. That'll be facilitated by Andrea Peterson and really focusing on math. And so we've got about 20 students already signed up for both our clubs. So we're really excited to kick those off and see how those go. And so strong community connections. We have, as a part of our academic and career planning at the high school, our high school team is facilitating a high school alumni day. So that'll be on Wednesday. So we'll be bringing in different alumni, talking with the kids, and so really looking forward to that event. It'll be a good event. And then PTO Color Run, that was this past weekend. It really was fantastic weather, fantastic turnout, so really successful color run.
Heard over 200 people ran,
Yeah,
like an all-time high, so it's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so kudos to our PTO, great job organizing and coordinating that, a big fundraiser for them. And then lastly, just want to do a recognition of Natalie Weeks, that she was our candidate for the Herb Cole Teacher Award. So that's a luck
Yes. Good. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I do have a question.
Oh,
And you
and
mentioned,
this one?
like, in talking about the parent-teacher conferences and students that were needing a little more support, and I don't know if this is the right time to ask this. I'm just wondering what the plan is for AR Fridays this year. If that's something that is on the schedule and how that's going to work.
So for you're talking specifically the high school?
Well, I guess all grade levels. I know there was something this Friday in the high school. There was one.
You mean this past Friday?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. So for academic resource, so each level has academic resource time built into their schedule. So the high school, just regular academic resource that occurs daily, 4 days a week. We have it set up where we're targeted for intervention and strategy support for kids. 1 day a week has been our lesson focused on academic and career planning and ACT. Middle school, similar model as well, where we have 1 day we're focused on our culture, so doing different things together as a school, and then the other 4 days we're focused on math and reading specifically, math and ELA there, and elementary also has academic resource time. Now that's what occurs on a daily basis. So the academic resource support and intervention time. What we're focusing on at the high school is trying to catch kids before they can get dug into a hole. And again, our overall emphasis this year is really focused on the learning. And so with that, I've shared my data before, I'll be happy to share it again. I had done a study of the last 3 years with our F data. And when we incorporated the Academic Resource Fridays, where we could target additional support on those kids who are struggling, we saw our F data dramatically decrease. And so that's our goal, is to try to increase that student learning by getting more targeted with them on that academic resource day. So the morning ran through a regular schedule, all 4 periods, teaching was occurring, and then teachers were selecting kids to meet with. So teachers requested, it was about 80 students that they requested and met with in the afternoon for that additional reteaching and targeted support.
How often is that being planned?
For the high school, they're looking at trying it at week 3 and then week 6, just to prevent them from getting too maybe far behind. And we're going to reevaluate each quarter to see is it necessary, how we're doing there and tracking the data. Middle school is going to do it once a quarter, but we have it built into the day, like the kids stay here the whole day, and they just have an hour that then the kids are, for the reteaching. So that's all part of the regular school day, one-time course.
And this is something that's new this year, it sounds like.
Well, we did academic resource support days last school year.
Right.
But we just did it at the midway and then final exam. So now we're just trying to incorporate two for the high school.
Did all 80 of the students that were supposed to come to the AR Friday then? And stay for
Some
it?
of them did not because they were excused ill due to forces out of their control.
How many of the 80 do you think came?
There was only 10 that were excused.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? If no one has a problem, we'll skip out of order just for a minute here and pop over to Whitney, who's here to talk about travel and lots of it.
A lot of travel.
So give it to us.
Okay, so hello, I'm Whitney Raffey, I'm the agriculture teacher and FFA advisor. So one of the travel opportunities I'm looking for board approval is National FFA Convention is happening in person again. So last year they did a virtual format. This year we're going back to having it hosted in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I'm not sure if everyone has the weather in front of them or not, but we'll be traveling with chapters that we've done in the past. So what we did narrow it, it's us, Plymouth, and New Holstein. So fewer chapters with that, and we are taking a smaller bus for that, but opportunities of tours along the way. The convention center itself, they get to interact with industry professionals in agriculture, all that circuits of it, as well as colleges. We're switching up and not doing a concert this year because it's the same person from 2 years ago, but doing the rodeo instead. And we also have some teams from the other chapters on the bus that are competing down there, so getting to interact with other students and seeing how they get to compete at that national level as well, so that networking that happens in Wisconsin, but on the coast bus down there. So the one thing that is for National FFA Convention is they are doing, it's all masked, so that's their guideline, so it's part of official dress this year, and so if students want to go, they have to follow that. And that's also depending on, there's one school that they may be going to masking just in their school, so whatever we decide between the three of us, like whoever's got the most strictness, that we'll all mask. We already were planning to assign seats, so we have to make sure we're all those like all the layers we had not think about combining three districts that all have different school boards, different policies, different experiences this past year and a half. That's the first one. That's in the U.S. travel.
Okay, that is item 10 on your agenda. So if we want to get a motion on the floor to approve travel, Brian?
I second.
Rainey, any questions or discussion for Whitney before she moves on to the next? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect. So I kept saying like, we're gonna go. Pending board approval. So the next two that I can speak to because I'm the lead on. So coming this summer 2022, agriculture trip to Italy. I have 17 students already signed up, enrolled, interested, and 3 adults. And we plan on doing another travel kind of night in October to see if there's others that want to join us. So this one is really focused in Italy and kind of starting in the upper northern part and ending in Rome. So all focused on listening. On that one, so on there you can see the student and adult prices, and we do have fundraising. Some kids have been, this one I actually introduced to them earlier, so some have had more time to save up and work over the summer, and so that they can afford your dollars to be a little more pricey. Across the pond. So that's one European experience. And then the other
Okay,
one that
well,
I just
let's
that one first.
yeah, let's get that one on the floor.
That one's the soonest, that's June.
Is there a motion to approve the Italy trip?
Make a motion.
Brian, is there a second? Chris, any questions or discussion? It'll be nice to finally go.
Do they learn about cuisine, or what do they learn at the
Yeah,
age
so
trip to
I
Italy?
don't know if you guys all got the attached itineraries, but some things are we're actually touring different places. There's one that's a whole, I'm really excited about it. It's like, it's fully, so it's like an amusement park, but it starts from like the farm, like animals, planting gardens, already like having stations where people are preparing different things and showing kind of that whole process and stuff. So it's kind of a blend of, I would say, the classic touristy, like kind of the Coliseum and some of those things, but then also like chocolate factory and so just kind of hitting that other part of it, swimming down. So it does have that focus on, which is pretty much agriculture. Everyone eats everywhere, but we can kind of look into it. Yes.
Are there any other questions or discussion?
You maybe addressed it, but is this all self-funded by the students and their families, or do you have a lot of fundraiser programs, or
So
any schools funding here at all?
So we do, I'd say, so like Mr. Sampson and I just been kind of doing the travel since I started teaching here. So the students do have opportunities to fundraise. The program, actually, the tour company we go to, they do have their own donation page, so students can then talk to families like, hey, hold on to that Christmas present, donate to my tour of a chocolate factory. Like, so they also have scholarships through the EF company on top of other things. So there are a variety of ways that students can fund. And my thing too is if I could get them to know what the opportunity is sooner, like some they just have more time and can break up those payments faster. So like Mr. Sampson's done 30 plus trips and kind of had his style, and I'm just trying to create mine. COVID, just let me know. Giving opportunities with students on that. So I'm a big fundraising person myself when it comes to helping kids do that. So whatever they want to try.
So it says in your letter though that the district is only being asked for vans and transportation to and from the
Yep.
airport,
So
right?
yeah, this is just more just getting us to the airport.
Any other questions or discussion?
Are they still underneath like the 2-week quarantine rules?
So EF does communicate. I communicate with our tour consultant about every other week. So they kind of let us know when we were hoping we could go this past summer. It was they had, which was promising, but like you have to have a negative COVID test that they can't ask you for, but you have on your person, and that they would provide like take you to the site for coming back into the United States because you need your vaccine as we see like people can still get it. So like, that masking would happen on during group travel on the bus. Like it was promising to me is that okay, they're at least thinking about it and like going open. And I was also on a Zoom chat with all of they're in hundreds of other countries and listening to people who are actually in their own country now and telling us what. And the one guy was from Italy about how they're talking to the establishments and arranging how they can handle those groups or how they would split things up or find other locations that would be able to accommodate that. So yeah, which Mr. Sampson has used for 30 plus years. I mean, they have a lot. They really haven't gone belly up as maybe some other touristy places. They also have their language schools and other types of programs. So they've really been thinking of how do we get people traveling again and still abiding by whatever the levels are around the world. Because you can see like we've got Costa Rica and Argentina that it looks different in different parts. I do feel comfortable in the sense that they are very transparent, but also very willing to work with us. That they have changed their refund flexibility more than what it was before COVID, with people getting more money back than they probably would have in the past. They're getting their vouchers when they travel, and they still always postpones because they've gotten the voucher that they could apply directly to the schedule.
At this point, has there been any requirement for vaccination?
Vaccination, no. The only part they've told me is the testing.
Any other questions or discussion on item 9, approval of the Italy trip? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that leaves you with the rescheduled Ireland and Scotland trip.
Yeah. So this is the one that was supposed to happen 2 summers ago. That Italy was supposed to be my second trip I was taking to. So this one is kind of my like hold-ons that were with me from the beginning. And still, but they were more concerned about the actual country and destination. So we did alter from originally when it was a more heavily agriculture focused, we were partnering with other schools in Wisconsin and created our own custom itinerary. Well, that was also piecing around county fairs and other agriculture requirements in the summer, so we kind of let that one go, and they just really want to make it to Ireland. So I left the ones that were still with me, like, hey, there are other itineraries out there if there's something that was appealing to them. So they were drawn to the Ireland and Scotland. So still going to Ireland, but adding that piece of Scotland on there and doing a 10-day experience. So looking a little different than the original intention that I had 2 years ago, but still heading that direction. And so those two are kind of the same situation when it comes to fundraising. The people who had the voucher piece, because we're going a few days longer than originally, they still have a little bit to pay off, but it's pretty much almost right on what they had originally.
Do you have any graduates, like people that have graduated on this trip, or?
Not this one. I do for Italy.
Yeah, I kind of figured that there would be some.
Right, and if they're 19 or younger, they still get the student rate. Okay. So for some, that's still.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 8?
So moved.
Chuck, is there a second? Is that
Second.
Brian? Any other questions or discussion?
So I think you just answered my last question, which is, you don't have to be an egg student to go on these trips then if you're having graduates come with, or they have to be a previous?
They were students for me, like they
were, okay.
graduates. But because I teach 8th grade ag, like with the Italy one that had already kind of done a broadcast to last year's 8th graders, because they would have been freshmen, that by the end could then go. So trying to offer more opportunities, because I know traditionally we had foreign language. I mean, that was an opportunity for them to practice in those countries. And as I mentioned earlier, like everyone eats, everyone puts on clothes. Thank goodness, you get to point A to point B, so we can see how they do in other places. And so that's kind of where I don't feel limited on where we can take random.
So it can be any student. They don't have to be in an egg class, or
No,
they do.
with partnering, I mean, I generally like it too, because I like to know who I'm traveling with, but I don't make it a. If anything, then they need to have other conversations.
After a trip, they will be.
Right, right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
best bud.
You know Whitney, yes.
Okay, any other questions or discussion for the rescheduled trip to Ireland and Scotland? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Did you want to speak to the Costa Rica or the Argentina trip?
I mean, I can. We're kind of on the same. So I would say Argentina, maybe I might not be on, just because I can make it work. But Italy in June, Costa Rica in July, end of August is Ireland and Scotland. So if I can squeeze them in, but so yeah, we have students who now are seniors that have been working towards that Argentina trip, and then Costa Rica is in July. So at this point, to kind of some of your earlier questions that you have, I know Costa Rica is really grad that will be on it, so graduated last year. But pretty much Costa Rica is the same tour company. Argentina is a different tour company. So that's where I probably can't speak as much to that, because that's Explorica that Rick has been working with for that one.
Okay.
But Costa Rica has been more contact. That one I am for sure going.
And there are letters in the packet also for those from her.
Well, maybe we'll just hold off on voting for those till we get there, and maybe Rick pops in. If not, then we can refer to the letters now. Well, thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, in summer.
All right, so let's pop back to item 7, which is board committee reports. And we had budget. Brian?
We met and we have possible board action later on later on in the agenda.
Okay, and policy met, and we have the second reading, and we'll get to that as we go. Oh, look at that, we're right back to the
There we
Costa
go.
Rica trip. That was quick. All right, does anybody have a problem with moving forward with that? All right. we have a rescheduled Costa Rica trip, still with EF Tours. Is there a motion to approve? Brian, is there a second? Rini, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have the rescheduled Argentina trip. And this one, as she was saying, is with a different tour company. So, is there a motion to approve their rescheduled trip? Chris, is there a second? Amy, any questions or discussion?
I do want to say, just Whitney and Rick, doing this. Sure, these are really cool places to go, but it's really cool for our kids to have these experiences, and then to be able to say to students that are no longer with us, hey, we still care enough, we want to make sure we do it. So thank you to both of them, because Whitney's going to have a lot of miles by the time she's done this summer, and Rick right up there too. So I just wanted to put a big shout out for both of them, because one trip in the summer is great, 4, that's almost a job done. So,
Right.
so it's fantastic that we're still doing this.
We're fortunate to have teachers that want to travel like this and
Right.
take students.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And tough choices for
Yeah.
students.
And how much does it really cost our district to supply the vans to go down to the airport?
Small price to pay.
$100 a guess, maybe. If that, probably.
All right, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have another trip, and this is band Inquire to Disney in Florida. And we're assuming, Susan,
Yeah.
which, we probably shouldn't have, I shouldn't have, that you're approving all these, okay. A little late now. Okay, so Brandon Miller is wanting to take kids to Disney. Anything on that? Anyone want to speak to that? I mean, we have our very nicely laid out itinerary.
I think it's a really cool trip. I'm not sure how much we've done this in the past, but it's something a lot of others schools have done, and it's something we're starting to pull up. I think it's going to be every 4 years, so everyone that is in band or choir gets a chance to go down to Disney and perform. So Brandon's pulling this from other places that he's been and wanted to start the trend. Started to start that here. And the nice thing is we're seeing so many students in those areas. It'll be a nice performance down at Disney and everything else. So it's just another tribute of teachers going above and beyond, going down to Disney and doing this. So I think it's fantastic, and I know the kids are really stoked about it too.
This doesn't replace the New York trip. It's just an additional band choir trip.
I know there was some talk about flipping and flopping, because I think New York is for choir, right?
Yeah, so they weren't planning break the drop in.
Okay.
I didn't look, how much does this overlap in missed school days, or does it much?
They plan it.
We're gonna miss it.
Yeah, is that over Thanksgiving?
I thought
They get back.
Yeah.
Probably missed.
They miss Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Or 2 days.
Or Monday, Tuesday, because
Monday,
Wednesday we don't have
Tuesday,
school
yeah.
anyway, so they
Okay.
missed 2 days for it.
All right.
Yeah.
Just curious.
And they don't fly down; they're driving a
I was
bus
gonna
down and
say.
back, so it
They'll learn that
helps on the
lesson
cost.
real
But
quick.
My wife
yeah.
reminded me she was on the famous trip years ago where they lost the band teacher.
Oh, what?
You ever heard
Lost
that?
the band teacher.
Mr. Ewan passed away when they were on the Florida trip down to Disney World.
That's when they
Drive.
stop.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just.
I don't know if I knock on wood after that one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we want to tell Brandon
I
that
assume everybody
story.
remembers that, but that's a long time ago.
Wow.
Oh, when you said lost, I got a little
Yeah,
history.
Yeah, I didn't either.
In a ride.
You just ate yourself,
Yeah.
Chuck.
What did Mickey do? You know.
Oh, really? Okay.
In my understanding.
Okay,
I
well,
guess I did date myself.
is there a motion to approve the
I
trip
make
to
a
Disney?
Uh,
Right, Rini, is there a second?
I'll second.
Brian, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Motion carries.
My husband's chaperoning on that
Oh,
one.
boy.
Is he? Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does he know CPR because someone might just
He
be.
does, yeah. He's a first grade trainer.
All right, next we have the COVID-19 mitigation plan.
Okay, and until for the foreseeable future, we're going to keep this on the agenda item to talk about. Just give an update. I know you've all seen the emails that I've been trying to do, keep you up to date. And the way we've been doing it is anytime there's a positive case, we'll send that out. If it's localized in one school, we'll keep it at a school level. The letters that came out today, because there's elementary and high school, we send it to the entire district just to let people know. We did have 4 cases over the weekend that were positive. Up to this point, except for kind of one situation, we don't really see any school spread. A lot of these are individual students, staff that are from home, have been at home, come to school. Our parents have been doing a fantastic job of keeping their children home when they're sick. I think that's going a long way. And really, I think the feedback that I've gotten most was because I sent out 3 letters last week, and they're kind of coming, one today, about the consistency of the positive letters. So that's the only feedback in the last month that people are like, do we really need to have a letter each time? I don't mind either way. I'm going to continue with my Friday updates and talk about the positives we have, who's out for testing. But just kind of, what are you hearing as far as that? I feel like as a school culture right now, I feel like we're as normal as possible. Look at the professional development, what Susan and Sandy are doing. We're doing things that are growing teachers and not worrying about virtual learning and all those other things that we have been for the last 18 months. So yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know if you guys are hearing anything. I haven't heard it.
So the positive cases, they all do their timeout and they come back. None of them have been hospitalized or.
No students or staff have been. No.
I know I kept my girls home a couple days because they were sick and they could still do Schoology. So that was pretty nice. I mean, they didn't, have to feel like they had to get a lot done, but they got some things done, and then they weren't so far behind when they came back. So we're
stronger in a lot of different areas because of that. I mean, you can stay home for a day and still see every one of the assignments that you have to do, especially for a secondary. That's a little harder in the elementary, but for secondary students. And I think I had a letter out there 2 weeks ago. Midwesterns, we come to work when we're sick, we go to school when we're sick. This is a good time. If you have a little scratchy throat, stay home because we just don't know. It hits people differently, and the longer we can be doing this and feeling this, the better.
Great.
I think the emails, it just, it's still an issue. We need to keep a pulse on how it's affecting us. So when we get an email that there's a case, I don't know that it hurts to do that. Right. I think I like to still be aware of what's going on in the school. Mm-hmm. I'm not bothered by it.
Okay. I agree. I don't think there's an issue at all.
And between Kim and I, we kind of have it down to clockwork now anyways. So yes, it's not a problem. And it's something we can review. If you hear something over the next month, this will be on here again next month, and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Sounds great. Next, we have adoption of special education policy and procedure handbook.
Just a yearly thing that we need to do with special education. I don't think, was there any change? I don't think we even had changes or anything, did we? This is just, the book is the book.
All right, is there a motion to approve the book?
I'll make that motion.
Chuck, is there a second? Chris, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have new professional staff, first grade teacher, Sierra Gallup, graduated from UW-Madison.
We had a nice problem. We had an influx of first graders. Yep. Yeah, it says first grade there. So we added another teacher, and we're very, very fortunate that gets here. So, this is another place, a Random Lake advantage. Class sizes were getting up to 26, which most schools would be comfortable with. We knocked it back down, was at 18 now. So You know, especially in our younger grades, we like having the smaller class sizes. So it was up over 50. So when it gets up, I think it was 52. And at that point, we wanted to keep it down around that 18. Because for K1, we like to keep it down there.
Is there a motion to approve? Reading, Chuck, a second?
I will.
Saw that head bob. Okay. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have notification of co-curricular coaches and advisors. Looks like a lot of repeats. Anyone have any questions? And item 18, we have volunteers for co-curricular programs, boys basketball. Matt Merlo. Is that new? That doesn't sound familiar, but
Yep, that's
okay.
that's a new face.
Okay.
Do we have a full-time head basketball coach now? I thought that was still in search.
That is something that is nearing its completion. So it's kind of in the last background check, things like that.
Okay,
So,
very good.
So this is Matt Senior, not Matt
yes,
Junior.
yes.
Could I
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
there was a student.
There is.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, item 19, we have notification of supplemental pay for food service support, administration.
And we know how hard it is out there for staffing right now. We have some great individuals in our food service, so we are going to do a $1 increase for our individuals in that area. So with all the things that they've done, as many people as they've fed, our nutrition team is doing really well with the things that they're doing, and this is something that we talked with Amy about and felt really good about.
Are they still short-staffed? Weren't they advertising for?
Yeah, they can only. I believe there is a spot or so. And they're all kind of working together. But I think last time I looked, there was one spot.
All right, we are at the second reading of the updates to the policies from Neola. Last month we went over those, and it's mostly technical type things or outdated that were deleted. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Rainey, is there a second? Amy? Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm not sure, I can't remember if we talked about this last month or not. We may have hit on it a little bit, but as a committee, we talked about giving the committee some flexibility in that not having to go to a second reading on some policies if we choose to do that. So what we're asking for is approval that would allow us to have a first reading and a vote on the same night. That would probably, more than, I would say, the only time we would use it is if it's something that's small, technical, changing the Wisconsin state statutes number, or something that's not changing anything outrageous. But this would allow us to just do it that first month instead of dragging it out for a second month.
And just to kind of remind the board, our board policies were something we looked at every few years. I'll just say a few, and sometimes those few years stretched out longer. And what we're doing now using Neola, they're constantly reviewing it. And there's some times where state statutes numbers change and some of those other things. And anytime we even tweak something like that really doesn't change the fundamental of the policy, we have to go through board approval. So this would allow us, if it's one of those things we just changed a few numbers, the committee can say this only needs one reading because it's just technicals. And it gives us the flexibility. Doesn't mean that we have to, but it gives us the ability to do so.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Chuck and Rainey? Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the approval for submission of the Esea Consolidated Plan and continued participation in the title programs. We have Title I, Remedial Reading and Math, Title IIA, Teacher and Principal Training. Title 3A, English Language Acquisition and Language Enhancement, and Title 4A, Student Support and Academic Enrichment to the SSAE grant. This is something that we have to do every year, is to continue in these programs. Is there a motion to approve continuation?
Also move.
All right, Chuck, is there a second?
Second.
Brian? Any questions or discussion?
These are all just beneficial ways of getting additional funding to help our students out, correct?
So this is federal money, and being federal money, we have to approve it at the board level, so it shows that there's a plan. Yeah, so this is a technicality. So these are things that we do. Some of the things we do with staffing, we use federal funds, and we just have to prove that there's a plan behind it, and this says that you guys know.
And there's reporting that goes with it, right?
There's
Right.
And
federal
that,
money.
that can be time consuming, I'm
Oh.
sure.
Yes.
Ask Patty.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of restrictions they put this money, or is it more just the reporting?
There's restrictions, but you just have to know what goes where, you know, and as Patty can probably tell you even better, there's so many, public education is pots of money, like there's a little bit of here, a little bit of here, a little bit here, and you have to be like, I'm using this for this staff and this for this professional development, but we can use this one for here. So you just have to know all these different funding sources and make sure that we're taking a little bit out of here, a little bit out of there, and you know, making sure it fits what our goal of our district is moving forward. So
And what's allowed under each
Yeah,
of those
yeah.
title programs.
So when you see the budget report later on, there's a lot more than just one page that goes into it. It's a lot of day in, day out. Can this be in this grant? And that's why it's a full-time job to be a business manager these days.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A tentative budget for 21-22. Woo! Good job.
I really can't even report on that. I sort of just put this when I get more further numbers from BPI to make sure we're losing some money in our full-time list, losing money in equalization aid this year for my calculations, but none of that is going to be happening with that data on.
And then our next board meeting will be directly after that? Will that be our monthly? And then we'll have it at the annual.
Right now I'm using estimates, so I balance.
Okay.
Some of that based on our student census that was taken last year,
So,
last Friday.
Important for us to know is in this we were talking about this in the committee meeting too, is public education was froze for the next 2 years as far as state funding. And what Madison said is you have so much federal funds, which we are using federal funds for this. So when you're seeing some of this reduction, we're being reduced by the state, but we have federal funds to do it. After this 2 years, one of the things I'm most worried about is these federal funds are paying for the raises and the increases in fuel and all these other things that usually the state took care of. When we get to the 23-24 school year, I'm hoping the state says, oh, we didn't give you your usual just cost of living raises for 2 years, so now you're going to get 3 and 4 years worth of raises, which I'm not holding my breath on that. But just know it's kind of creating a financial cliff for us where we're able to cover and we're going to be creative and do all those things that we've been doing. But there are some things that are a little nerve-wracking out there 2 years out. So
I don't know if this is the time, but is like COVID monies, are they pretty much now been planned out and exhausted, or
so there's
budgeted out?
there's three ESSERs. That's the COVID money. So this year's budget, because of no raises, we really used. Last year was ESSER 1. And ESSER 1 was just buying all that stuff that needed to get done, hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. ESSER 2 is helping us with the raises and things needed for this budget. And we're holding ESSER 3 for that 22-23 school year. But after that 23-24 school year is the one that is going to, you know, we're with legislators today at my breakfast, I'll talk about a little bit later, but that's the piece that we're still trying to say, I get it, we got more money from the feds, that's great, but what happens when we get to year 3, or what are we gonna do with it? So, as advocates, that's something that just kind of keep on the back burner and keep an eye out for.
Okay, so we'll have more firm numbers next.
But the other thing you can say, according to this budget, is this will be 3 years in a row that we're reducing the levy rate. So if everything goes, that's a good 3-year run on that.
Yes, I was gonna add that, projecting that I could keep the levy rate either the same or lower, but right now it's projected 7 cents.
Great.
7 cents lower.
Yes.
7 cents lower. Yeah.
And what do I always think? In Patty we trust.
Any other questions on the budget? All right, and then we have been provided a report on the planned fundraising for the 21-22 school year. And there, it looks like there's quite a few opportunities for those travel students to get out there and fund.
So, but there's a new one, now there's a football golf outing, cause that's new, right?
When was
A football fundraiser, it's scheduled for
Oh,
2022,
for next year.
football.
Okay.
Did I, yeah, football, but they're playing golf.
It's
Right.
It's this next summer.
It's a
Yeah.
golf outing, yeah.
That's new,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
haven't had that before?
No,
Right, okay,
we had the Education Foundation golf outing, but that was the only one we had.
Right.
So that's gonna be a new one.
In addition to.
Yep. So we'll have 2 golf outings. Get your clubs.
if something doesn't get on this list, is it still allowed?
Well, we're not approving or disapproving
It's
this
just like
list.
a note.
Right, it's just kind of, how this came about was, at one of the board meetings several years ago, they're like, aren't there a ton of fundraisers, what's going on, we don't know how we can help support some of these, because we don't even know what's going on.
Okay.
You know, people didn't have students in school. So, administration came up with getting a list, and so the groups have just been asked to, like, you need to do this, you need to let us know, and they've been really good about it.
So we can all play donkey basketball.
Right, right, but you can't say you didn't know. No.
Yeah, yep, or at least come live.
Now you're dating yourself.
Reading, you're volunteering.
No, I'm volunteering.
But administration would have to approve those fundraisers, you know, like they do. All right, informational items.
So you just heard about the budget. Remember, October we'll have 2 meetings. We'll have our annual meeting and then our board meeting. So make sure you have those marked. What are the dates on that again? Do you have those in front of you, Kim?
Board meeting, or the annual meeting is 25th, it's the last Monday. And then our regular board meeting is the third Monday.
18th, I think. Yeah.
And the annual meeting starts at 6:15 for the hearing, budget hearing.
Sure, we get to hear Brian.
Hopefully I'll have my voice back.
Yeah. Two, I just wanted to let you know I was asked to be part of a committee that is looking at the Sheboygan County. The different municipalities has somewhere around $45 million of COVID money that they're trying to find ways that they can use it one-time funds to help bring up the county. And I've been asked to be part of the Affordable Housing Task Force, just knowing a lot of things that we're doing around housing. I'm working with the Sheboygan County Economic Development Corp, Sheboygan County board members, and trying to find ways to make sure Random Lake stays on the map when we're talking about different ways that we can look at housing projects and such. So we have our second meeting next week, but it was nice to be on that because that's something that's dear to all of our hearts, is how can we keep doing things that can give families that's affordable house, especially young families.
Is that 45 million for just the county?
County and city and municipalities, yeah.
A lot of money.
There's a lot of money. Yep.
A lot of building.
Yeah. The next is board retreat. So we'll have 2 meetings in October. I'm going to be sending a doodle poll out for November. and we will get together and do that. So keep an eye out for that doodle poll. I'm gonna probably pick a Monday somewhere before that third week, if that works for everybody to do Mondays. So we'll be seeing a lot of each other over the next 8 weeks. And then lastly, I drove by, this was about a week ago, and I seen 5 backhoes working at the same time in the village. I had to take a picture because I can't believe it. How great is that? It's been fun this last couple weeks. Our chamber has a really engaged board that is doing some really great things. The Lake Association are doing some really good things. I really see a renewed kind of collaboration working that I haven't felt in the last few years. So I just want to say thank you to all the new blood or the blood that's here that's really taking a step forward. I know your wife's working with the chamber, but it just feels to be some really good things going on in the community. That, along with seeing things happen, just gets you excited about the future. So,
Great.
One time.
Any questions for Mike? All right, we'll take a couple minutes here, let Lee tear down. We're going to go into closed session, and we will not be taking any action after that. So thank you all for coming tonight, and we will go ahead and make a motion to go into closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session as permitted under Wisconsin State Statutes, Chapter 19, Section 1985, 1D, to discuss an opportunity to work with the Sheriff's Department and remain in closed session as permitted under Wisconsin State Statutes, Chapter 19, Section 1985, 1C, to discuss personnel and staffing matters.
So move.
Chuck, is there a second?
Second.
Brian, this requires a roll call vote. Brian? Chris? I vote yes. Amy?
Yes.
Chuck? Rainey? All right, we are in closed session. Again, thank you very much for coming out tonight.